our hero highlight. We heard a little bit about Janet and Bob Hudson earlier, but Janet, would you and Bob like to share with the group a little bit about your service? Take a minute or two.
He's trying to get me in the middle since I'm presenting in a minute, but I'm like, I'm not presenting yet. Come back, dear. So the hardest part of that deployment for 8 months was that we had to send our 2-year-old down to Florida. So Jessica went to live with relatives for that time. She had a blast, but it was really hard to leave her, to send her on off. So Bob was working on the A-10 Warthog planes on the flight line and also doing some logistics stuff there. And I was a nurse in the air transportable hospital during that 8 months and ran the emergency room, which was the triage area. So thank you, Lord. There weren't a lot of really bad injuries from the war itself. So didn't have to do that terrible triaging where you say, this person gets worked on, this person doesn't. So that was a blessing. Definitely did not have to go through too much of that.
That's awesome. And what kind of planes did Bob work on?
He worked on the A-10, which they're called Warhogs. Warhog, that's the nickname. They
Okay.
would the people call them
killers.
tank. They call them the was it the Black Death, because they are looming over them, black on on the underside, and they killed a lot of tanks.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And Janet and Bob are our spotlight speakers today, and they're going to talk to us about LifeWave. Sorry. I'm with WealthWave. They're with LifeWave. And they are a brand partner for LifeWave. And do I have all your information correct on here?
Yeah, that looks great.
So if anybody wants to take a screenshot of this, I'll pop it up again here in just a little bit. I'll stop sharing so that Janet, you can share your screen. And Janet and Bob and I have known each other many years now. So, and they have been faithful coming to this group since before we were on Alignable. So
Yes, for a couple of years now, all through COVID and everything.
yeah.
Well, I want to share with you a little bit about my story and how I actually found LifeWave and why it's been such an important part of our life for the past 2.5 years. And what I'm going to talk about today is why holistic over the traditional medical model, why that's important, a little bit about my background and health journey. What are stem cells? Why are they so important in our health? And the things that can affect our stem cells, what we eat, what we drink, what we supplement with, how much exercise we're getting. And it's most importantly, what I'm going to talk to you about today is your sleep. And then we'll just wrap it up after that. So traditional medicine, I'm going to move y'all's lovely faces out of my way. See, there we go. Traditional medicine really has a model of one size fits all. They look at the symptoms and try to treat that specifically, generally with medications or procedures. Not their fault. It's how they're trained as physicians. That's how they're trained to work, right? But holistic has a little bit different approach. It's more personalized. It really treats the whole person. And I think as a nurse, that really appeals to me too, because we're taught to treat the whole person, not just their physical ailment, but what's going on with them in their minds and what's going on in their environment that might be affecting their health. So we're trying to treat the whole person. And the way we're treating it, you get minimal side effects, unlike medications. So a little more about who I am. Bob and I have been together 47 years, 44 that married. We have 2 adult children. Jessica is 36 and Tyler is 29. It's hard to believe. That's been that long since Desert Storm, honestly. They're both doing really well. And my joke is that they are brilliant because they are self-sustaining adults and they are not in jail. So I'm just going with they're brilliant. Like we said, we both served about 13 years in the military, and I was a nurse for about 10, almost all of my nursing career. I was a nurse anesthetist, which just means I did anesthesia and loved doing that, but I'm happy to be retired now for the past almost 2 years. So here's the reason why I found LifeWave, and this is the reason why stem cells became so important to me and to my health. When we were over there, before we ever got there, they gave us a bunch of injections, a bunch of things, and one of them was a anthrax vaccine that was experimental. Have you ever heard of anything that recently that was experimental that they gave us? So anyway, first time they were given to humans, they thought it would help us if we were biologically attacked with anthrax. Of course, none of that happened. But between that and the burning oil fields in Kuwait, because we were the closest base to Kuwait, and there's huge cloud of toxic smoke over our base for many, many weeks that we were inhaling and trying to not get into our skin. Those things, they found out about 250,000 veterans that came back from Desert Storm had a bunch of weird symptoms that really didn't seem to go together. But statistically, they found they were all related to the Gulf War, and they called it Gulf War illness, Gulf War syndrome. And I, unfortunately, had a lot of those symptoms. Fortunately, Bob did not. But I had muscle and joint pain and developed all kinds of nerve pain in my arms and legs, and sleep issues, colon issues. Eventually had colon cancer, they said was related to the Gulf War also. So I'm 80% disabled. Feel a little bit guilty because I'm functioning like I'm normal again. So, but that's all to do with stem cells. So what are they? What are stem cells? And most people know sort of what they are. And they may get them through infusions for cancer treatment, or they may get them from injections into a joint if they have knee pain or shoulder pain. Because what they do is they can take any damaged cell in our body and replace it with a healthy cell, because a stem cell can differentiate into over 200 different cells, anything from our brain to our skin. So that's why they are so important. Unfortunately, just like everything else in our life, as we age, it either things go down, so your number of stem cells decrease, or something sags. I mean, it's gravity and it's our body's function. So that's just what happens as we age. So what can we do to help whatever stem cells we have left function better? And these are just some general things that you can do that really are important. One of the things is intermittent fasting. And I'm not talking about that you necessarily have to fast for days or even into a really short window. Like some people fast like 4 to 6 hours a day. That's the only time they eat. You certainly can do that, but you don't necessarily have to. Even if you're not eating after dinner and then not eating till breakfast, that's at least 12 hours. And you're giving your body time to rest. And the functions that are going on while it's resting are really important to help maintain your health, and also can actually give you some more stem cells in your body. So very important for fasting. As far as what you eat, whole food. I don't know if I can shout that from the mountaintops. We are, as a country, we're eating so much processed food, so much fast food. It is killing us. It is damaging our children and making them be on drugs the rest of their lives. And it's just amazingly crazy that that is what we've come to in a country that has so much wealth. You need to eat whole foods. You need to maybe stay home and cook more. And 80-20 is kind of the rule that I do for our lives. 80% of the time we try to be really strict about what we're eating. And 20% of the time, it's Christmas or it's Thanksgiving and you want to have a treat or whatever, go ahead and do that. But there's a picture of vegetables that are particularly a certain kind called carnivorous vegetables. They actually have enzymes in them that help your liver. So if you can take more of these kind of vegetables in, kale, spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, those kinds of things. A lot of people say, oh, they make me too gassy. If you're eating them raw, they may. If you're eating them steamed or roasted, they should not. And maybe initially they will, but if you keep eating them, they won't. So your body will get used to it and you won't have the gas issue. If all else, take a gas X, right? Water. We need at least 8 glasses of water a day, and it depends on your activity level. So why is water so important? Well, we're 70% water, and we really need to make sure that we're functioning at a level that our brain's going to function, our lungs are going to function, our skin, our bones. All these things really depend on how hydrated we are. And just remember to put a little bit of Celtic salt or sea salt in your water once or twice a day, or some drops that give you some minerals. because the water we're drinking is so stripped to get all the junk out that the minerals are gone. So your body can't absorb the water into the cells where it needs to go. So if you put just a little bit of that, it'll really help a lot. And maybe lemon, lime, something to make it taste better to you if you're not really into drinking water. There's ways to make it more palatable. So to supplement or not to supplement? Well, these particular supplements actually aid, I lost my little sheet, actually aid in your stem cell health. So vitamin D is amazing in itself. It has so many things. You guys can read that, especially in your bone health and in your immune system and in your amount of depression that you might have. So vitamin D is really, really important in that. But for stem cells in particular, it decreases the aging process of stem cells and helps them differentiate into those 200 kinds that we were talking about at the beginning. So vitamin D is vitamin D3, vitamin D, whatever you want to call it. It's very important. Vitamin C, always good. People think of it when I get a cold, I'm going to take vitamin C. Well, it's really good to take it every day if you can to supplement it. It increases the productions of the stem cells in your bone marrow. So really important there. Omega-3s, those fatty acids that people talk about that usually can help your heart, help cholesterol, those kinds of things. Well, what's interesting about omegas is they actually take fat cells that we have two kinds of fat cells. One's a large fat cell, one's a small fat cell. And omegas actually break the large fat cells into smaller ones. And that's really good because smaller ones can store energy in a healthier way. So they really also help with cardiac and nerve stem cells. So important to get some of those in your body. And make sure you're having the right ratios between omega-3s and omega-6s. You want them to be equal ratios. Curcumin, turmeric curcumin, it's a great antioxidant and helps people a lot with joint muscle pain. So it's a really good anti-inflammatory, but it also helps stem cell function better. It decreases the stress on them and increases bone creatine. So these are all ways that you can actually help the bones, the stem cells that you have. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. I'm trying to get through all this. This is my soapbox. This has nothing to do with stem cells. This has everything to do with your heart health and maybe help prevent you from having a stroke or a heart attack. Vitamin K2, not vitamin K. Vitamin K is a blood thickener. Vitamin K2 just works with your heart and your bones and your vascular health. And it needs to be from natto beans, which is the natural source of that vitamin K2. And the reason it's so important is it takes calcium out of your bloodstream, puts it back in your bones and in your teeth. Why do you want to keep it there instead of in your bloodstream? Because it's calcium plus cholesterol that makes plaque. It's not just cholesterol, which your doctors have been telling you forever. You need to lower your cholesterol. You need to lower your cholesterol. We're going to put you on a statin, even though your cholesterol is almost normal, because we have to lower your cholesterol. Well, it's not really the cholesterol that's the issue. It's the calcium with the cholesterol. So it used to be about 15 years ago, a normal cholesterol level was 300. That was normal. Now it's 140. Why is that? Well, I'm just going to say FDA and leave it. I'm not going to say any more than FDA, 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 and statins. So exercise. I get so many comments from people as they're aging. I can't play basketball anymore. I can't run anymore. I can't do this. I can't do that. What can you do? There is so many ways to get exercise in. Now, I went to a class. It was a chair aerobics, and I thought, I'm not going to get anything out of this. I got exercise out of it. The next day, I was sore. I was really amazed. Getting in the water and doing water aerobics, playing pickleball. If you're used to be a tennis player, that's very popular. So whatever you can do, even if it's around your home, gardening, housework, laundry, those are all forms of exercise. So get out there and move it. Because if you're not moving it, it's rusting. It is rusting and you'll feel worse. Okay, the most important thing is your sleep. Sleep is so important. And I'm speaking to myself. Regular sleep schedule. Try to go to bed the same time every day and get up at the same time within a half hour to an hour. You want to try to keep it the same. You want to calm down your schedule, what's going on in your world, an hour or two before you go to sleep. So get off your computer, get off your phone, dim the lights, read a book, listen to calm music, something calming an hour or two before bed. And I know. I have pictures of animals in the bed because everybody I know that has animals, almost everybody has them sleep with them. And I'm like, that's like the worst thing for your sleep. I know you want them to be near you, but really it's disrupting you. Heavy meals, caffeine, those can disrupt your sleep. And try to get around 7 hours or a little more a day if you can. Some people need less, some people need more. You know what your body needs and how you feel when you wake up. So everything I talked about today, the food, the water, the exercise, fasting, supplementing, sleeping right, they all will make the stem cells that you still have in your body healthier and potentially increase the number of them, which is awesome. The problem is by the time we're 30, we have about half functioning. By the time at my age at 65, you have squat. And that is why you see people visibly age so much in that category between 50 and 70. If you don't see somebody for a year or two and then you see them, I remember thinking that about my parents. I'm like, ooh, they're aging. And it's because our stem cells are going down. Some of it has to do with genetics also and your environment, but a lot of it has to do with stem cells. So I was doing all the things I listed in there for my health, including massage and acupuncture and chiropractic care and lots of prayer, focus on asking God's help in my health because I had so many issues. And it all was helping, but nothing was totally getting rid of everything until I boosted my stem cell activity with this product called the X39, which I'll just briefly tell you about. It activates and elevates a copper peptide. So when I first heard about this, I honestly thought, that's not going to do anything to my stem cells. What the heck? But when I really understood the technology, what it's trying to do, it's phototherapy. Your infrared body field interacts with a patch. It elevates a copper peptide that they've known for 50 years, turns stem cells back on, floods your system with collagen, and resets a third of your genes. They've known that, but nobody could figure out how to elevate it until this brilliant man called David Schmidt did it with patches. So it's really, really important technology that he's invented. We're excited to be a part of it. These are some of the things that can happen. I can tell you all of those things happened to me in some degree when I started on this product. Some things quickly, within weeks, some things took months. But here I am over 2 years later, and I have no nerve pain, no muscle and joint pain, unless I'm doing something like crazy yard work, whatever, um, and sleep like a baby now. So yeah, lots of energy, brain fog's gone, all that good stuff. So I just want you to know that aging is not a lost youth. It's a stage of opportunity. So you just do the best you can for your body, and it will do the best it can to let you live longer and feel better. And so what's your next adventure? What do you want to do, and how can we help you with that? But I really this is my take home point. Most people in our society rely on physicians to tell them what to do and where to be and how much to take. And I'm just telling you, I'm not saying that they're not always right or always wrong, but do your own research. Don't have them put you on something without actually figuring out what it is and what are the side effects, and do they outweigh do the benefits outweigh the side effects? So that's my again, I'm on my soapbox, sorry. Can you believe I was nursing for 42 years? Now I'm just totally in the wellness side. So the other thing I want to leave with you is this may not be something you're interested in, but you may know somebody who's really looking for an opportunity to get into a company that is tearing up direct selling. We are number one in momentum for the past 4 years. This hasn't been updated through October, but every time it goes up, every month we increase. So we're going from $20 million when we started with X39 5 years ago. We're going to be 600 million this year, over 600 million. That's more than 20x growth in a company that's 20 years old. So if you know someone who's excited about trying to have a side gig and wants to build their income, maybe pay off debt or take their kids on vacation or buy groceries, we love to talk to them and let them know what this opportunity does for people. So that is me. Does anybody have questions? I'll stop my share. Hopefully I didn't take too long.
You did that too fast, Miss Janet. You got to put that last screen up there because I was just about to take a picture of it.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Got to breathe, Miss Janet. How come on your list of stuff you did, there was no hypnotherapy? What's the matter with you, girl? Okay.
Well, hypnotherapy is great, and breathing is really good for you, some controlled breathing.
Thank you. I got it now.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks, Miss Janet.
You're welcome. You guys can
Thank you.
always find me on
Such a good
Alignable or
job,
LinkedIn.
girl. Good job. Best presentation.
Thank you. That was great. Great presentation. I have one question.
Sure.
So I think I remember reading something or hearing something about when they originally created those stem cell patches, they were trying to help the military. Isn't that correct?
Yes. Well, David Schmidt's given hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of patches to military veterans and to help them. Basically, not only do these work with your body's problems, right, but they also work with things going on in your mind. So anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress. So we have ways to help people to get into a better state of mind coming out of trauma without drugs. So it's just something definitely to try. We have lots of testimonials with it helping with that. I don't know if anybody knows Michael Jaco. He's a Marine. He has a very popular podcast. He is also a proponent of LifeWave and loves what it has done for all his Marine buddies who have been traumatized from war.
And Miss Janet, if I could really quickly interject and ask a question at the same time.
Sure.
You and I had met before, and we have to meet again about this, but we had talked about, and I know what the answer is, but I want everybody to hear this too, about the LifeWave advantage for people that are trying to come off of drugs or alcohol. It's all the research I'm finding is just amazing. The numbers are staggering.
Yeah, there is we have more than one type of patch. We always talk about the stem cell activation patch X39, but there is another patch we have that actually helps decrease cravings for alcohol, tobacco, and sugar. So when you're trying to get off processed food, if you put that on for the sugar, it really does help. Thanks for asking, Patrick.
Well, and thanks for providing that. And I told you then, I tell you again, very proud of you. Good job.
Thank you.
Great info. Well, y'all make sure that you follow and like their social media, their set up one-to-ones. And thank you so much, Janet. As usual, you did a fantastic job.